If you did and you watched the Toronto Raptors take on the Chicago Bulls, you may have heard this on the ESPN broadcast.
Particular game, if he steps the wrong way or something.
Visit to Florida State. Asked me, what did you? Patrick said I was down for whatever Coach Hamilton. Underrated passer, doing a nice job.
In terms of the total number or the quality of shots, I'm comfortable.
Tell me, life is really good for him right now. He's in a good headspace coming in.
Who the handle is maybe not as
a 20-point advantage.
This guy thinks he can do more offense.
So all of these are missed free throws. Okay, and you hear the screeching and screaming in the background. Now, by now, I believe many of you know that's DeMar DeRozan, former Raptor, now Chicago Bull. That's DeMar DeRozan's daughter making that screeching noise. And afterwards, people asked DeMar if she's going to go to Miami. Now they have one more win. No, she's got to go to school. And she is a simply adorable little girl. And anytime you're cheering for your dad and trying to help your dad's team win, like, how could anybody say anything bad about her? Well, I can. Because here's the thing, right? And Scotty Barnes came out after the game and he was like, obviously it affected us. We were 18 and 36 in the free throw line. Just because it works doesn't make it right. Like, if that was anyone else's child, how would we react to it? If it wasn't a child, if it was an adult, how would we react to it? So I'm kind of torn on this thing, right? Because on some level, you're like, man, she goes to see her dad play what could be the only playoff game of the year, and she's there to support him, and she's cheering for him, and all she wants to do is help her dad win, and so she's screeching and screaming like a dying cat at every free throw that the Toronto Raptors, his former team, take. And heck, maybe if it worked, and if it worked well enough and it won, well, then we're result-oriented. But have you ever been to a game with somebody who's super annoying, yelling and screaming and screeching? Have you ever? Has that ever been your experience? It's the worst. It's the worst. So we do this thing, and we're like, it's cute kids privilege. That's what it is. You know, and people do it all the time. And they bring their kids up to the dais. They're answering questions, and they got their son with them, and they're so cute. And it's great to see them there with their dads or their moms or whoever's up there. Like, that part is awesome. But you still have a job to do. Okay, in this case, like, she's just a fan. She's just cheering for her dad. But man, that's a lot. That is a lot. There is not a human being alive that won't affirm what I'm going to say about DeMar DeRozan's daughter. Okay? That unless that's your daughter or cheering for your team, that's the most annoying, obnoxious thing you can allow a child to do at a basketball game, right? Is to screech and scream when it's silent. And the idea that we're going to sit here and go like, that was so adorable. Like, that's a real question to have to DeMar. Like, okay, so let's say we go to Miami in 2 nights and a couple of the kids from the Miami Heat see it, and now they start screeching and screaming every free throw. And I get it. Like, as a professional basketball player, you're supposed to make your free throws, and I don't know how much it actually was part of them missing free throws. Right. You got to be able to make it whether they're yelling at you or yelling for you. I get it. I couldn't make them regardless. Eyes open, eyes closed. Sometimes I can make them, sometimes I couldn't. It is a completely mental thing. But we've gotten to this point to where we're so enthralled with adorable children who support their parents that we're not going like, yay, you know, like, can we dial that back a little bit? Like, if somebody from the Raptors would have gone up to her like at halftime, it's like, ma'am, right? Like, we gotta dampen that a little bit. Like, can you just, again, you bought a playoff ticket to see the Raptors play. And she's sitting, you know, 3rd, 4th row behind the basket. That's $1,000 a ticket. And every time the Raptors shoot, she's going to scream and screech. And we're like, oh, that's great. It's causing them to miss free throws. No, it's actually annoying. Ramos, you, by the way, happy anniversary to you. You and Suzanne, you got away for a couple days. You went to Vegas. You're back. Would you allow your kids?
No. You don't have to continue the question. No. I would never allow. I mean, if they did it one time and it was like, cool, and then after that, I'd be like, hey, chill out. We don't need to be screaming anymore.
Right. And yet I guarantee when we post this on social media, I'll be the bad guy. Oh, you're just a jerk. You just don't no, I have kids. I want my kids, and part of it is, hey, she's not on her phone. She's paying attention. She's not sitting there doing Wordle or doing whatever. She's cheering for her dad. That's great. She's wearing a jacket that has a D on it, obviously for DeMar, for him. That's great as well. But dude, that's like the most annoying sound ever. That's more annoying in many ways than the sound, was it Lloyd made in Dumb and Dumber? Now, Ryan, you don't have kids, right?
That's correct,
right.
I don't.
Right? So, again, can you imagine sitting next to her at the game? And what do you say? What do you do? It's so uncomfortable. And I'm not, but most every other radio show, TV show, Sports Center, oh, look at the numbers. It works. So what? It's annoying. I don't want my kid doing that. What do you think when you hear those screeches?
Yeah, if I was next to it, I'd probably laugh the first couple times. Oh, it's funny. It's a kid. And then after fifth or sixth time, I'd be like, all right. And then now I'm starting to give some looks. I don't think I'd step in entirely, but I wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's how do you say that's awesome. You're cheering for your dad. That's a really good thing. And then on the other hand, you sit there and go, that's one of the more annoying sounds that a human being can make. And there's 18,000 other people and probably 1 million people at home that really don't like that sound. So could you please stop? But instead, we're like, look at the numbers. It works. Are you going to bring her to Miami? It's a hard one.